Hi. Ooh, I got a special one for you today. I do. So I was talking to my friend Debbie recently, and we were talking about people, how people love to complain, how they love to complain about the weather, complain about things in life, complain about neighbors, complain about people. And I think about complaining and what that must be about. It seems to serve no purpose. You know, in Chicago, we've recently had some hot activities. Debbie says she went to a gathering and everybody was complaining how hot it was outside. And I remember a few months ago when it was really cold and people were complaining about how cold it was outside. So as you're watching me today, I'd like you to go inside of yourself and find something that you like to complain about. Anything. Maybe you want to complain about the cost of groceries. Maybe you want to complain about politics. I don't know what but just feel it. Now, while you're complaining, I'd like for you to go inside of yourself and feel inside, is that complaint helping you in some way? Is it doing? In other words, if we complain about the weather's too hot, and if we have AC at home, well, we could make it cooler in the house, but it's still hot outside. If we complain about how much money we don't make, do we make more money? No. In fact, I have my experience of many eons, many years of studying the human mind. I find that complaining perpetuates the negativity of life. You know, one of my videos you might look for is we become what we think about all day. One of my favorites. What do you think about all day? Do you think about complaining? Then you become a complainer. I think probably one of my greatest challenges in life is talking to somebody who complains a lot about the things that they aren't able to correct or change. They say, oh, well, this person does this to me all the time. Sounds like it's time to find a new person. Oh, I hate my neighbor because they've got plants growing that I don't like. Time to look the other direction. What I'm saying to you is, any complaint that you create in your mind manifests itself into you having discomforts. I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about how often do I complain about things that I can't change. How often do I complain? That's a good one. How often do I complain? I don't complain too often. The people who I know personally who complain seem to accomplish nothing by complaining. Nothing. You say, what do? Do we ignore the neighbor next door? Do we ignore the person who hurts us? And do we ignore that we don't make enough? No, we don't ignore it. We do something about it. And if we can't do anything about it, then there's no reason to complain, because we could only correct the things in life that we have the ability to correct. So you might say, well, Larry, how do you correct complaining? I choose not to complain. I'm thinking about something that I could complain about, and I don't see something. I don't have something in my mind right now that I could bring about a conscious awareness to and say, yep, Larry likes to complain about. I don't even complain that I go and walk my dog Rosie and we come back and she wants to go for another walk. What am I going to do? Complain? Do you think she cares? If I say to her, you just went for a walk, you don't need another one. You think she don't care? You think the neighbor do you think the neighbor really cares that they're planting a plant that you don't like? They don't care. And the person who challenges you in some way, do you think that complaining stops them from challenging you? Yeah. How about this one? How about traffic? If you live in Chicago, ooh, that's a good one to complain about. This traffic is terrible. They're always doing new construction on the streets, and these bike lanes, they slow traffic down. Well, I noticed the traffic has not sped up in the last 20 years that I could think of. Actually, it's gotten a little more challenging. And by complaining about the traffic doesn't fix it. So I'm going to say to you in conclusion, think about this one in conclusion. If there's nothing you could do about it, nothing you do about the traffic, nothing you do about the neighbor's plant, I'm making those things up, nothing you could do. What if you learned to not complain about it? Would that feel better? Because you still haven't thought of or told me how you could feel better by complaining. Does it help you to complain? No. Does it fix anything? No. It only hurts you. You know, that cortisol goes through the body and you age faster. I don't want to age faster. I want to age slowly. I want to enjoy my moments. And every time you complain, you're wasting energy. You know, the people at Debbie's meeting, and they said, it's hot outside. But the weather was still hot when they left the gathering. It's still hot. So the complaining did nothing. I guess I'm saying to you, what really is the magic of life is allowing, accepting, letting it be. You say, why do you do that? It takes training. You know, I was born feeling good as you were. Along the way, people told me things and complained to me about who I was. They told me who I am, who they are, and what this world's all about by the time I was 7 years old. And then I began again about the age of 26 when I learned about hypnosis. And all of a sudden I was hypnotized. And I sat there thinking, I'm not hypnotized. I was complaining. I opened my eyes. And then I realized when I opened my eyes, there was something wrong. Because there was nothing wrong. I couldn't complain about my anxiety, my stress, my nervousness. It wasn't there. So I learned a skill in life. If I don't complain, then there's nothing to complain about. I wish you a beautiful day. I wish you a magical day of learning that complaining helps nothing. Not complaining will have you living a long, happy life, and I will see you soon. Have a beautiful day. I wish you well, and I love you.